we all get angry on stuff. I don't know if you turn into like a big green monster or a cross-dressing man with a green chainsaw. I don't know what happens to you when you get angry. My wife, I don't do this, but when she gets angry, she has this one vein that pops up right in the middle of her head, and so it doesn't help that when she gets angry at me, and I'm like, you look like a Klingon right now. And that doesn't help things, okay? That doesn't help your marriage if you do that. Here's the thing, we all get angry. Anger is it's a natural human response, but sometimes people think that, like, if you follow Christ, you should never be angry. Like, you should never be angry. It's like, hey, I'm just so peaceful, and I just love everybody. And if you get angry, they're like, what's your problem? You know? And I'm going to tell you tonight that anger is not necessarily a bad thing. So let's look at Ephesians, and we're going to read Ephesians chapter 4 through verse 28. I'm just going to stop at verse 28, okay? All right, so if you have your Bibles, turn to, or if you have your Bible, turn on. Is that good? You can turn on your Bible, you can turn to your Bible, whatever you need to do. Ephesians chapter 4, and here's what he says. Paul is talking to the church in Ephesus, a city over in modern-day Turkey. And he says, you, however, did not come to know Christ that way. Surely you heard of him and were taught in him in accordance with the truth that is in Jesus. You were taught in regard to your former way of life to put off your old self, which is being corrupted by its deceitful desires, to be made new in the attitude of your minds, and to put on the new self, created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness. Therefore, each of you must put off falsehood and speak truthfully to his neighbor, for we're all members of one body. And then he says this, in your anger, what? In your anger, do not sin. Don't let the sun go down while you're still angry, and do not give the devil a foothold. He who's been stealing must steal no longer, but must work doing something useful with his own hands, that he may have something to share with those in need. All right, here's the first thing as we talk about anger. The question is, what does anger look like in your life? You know? Anybody, give me your angry face. What's your angry face look like? You don't know what your angry face is? Okay, pretend you're angry. Right? Like, pretend you just found out that I'm married. You're like, oh, I'm But that looks like laughter. I'm confused. I am so confused right now. Right. All right, show me your anger face. Give me a good anger face, right? You know what have you ever heard this? It takes more muscles to frown than it does to smile. Have you ever heard that? Yeah. Which just confirms that happy people are lazy. So next time somebody's like, hey, turn that frown upside down, you're like, I'm just exercising, lazy person, right? We all get angry. I don't know about you, but maybe you're the kind of person, when you get angry, you cuss. Right? Anybody know people that when they get angry, they cuss? Yeah, Alexi. Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we all know people that cuss when they get... Do you guys know people that, like, they hit things when they get angry? Right? Oh, I see. Hey, no concealed carry here. You need to roll up your sleeves. I love that you get these things. This is making me happy. So, okay. Right, how many people know, like, somebody get angry and they throw things? Like in your room, you throw things? Yeah. What's the last thing you threw? Yeah, in the back.
Which one?
Oh, to the left. The one pointing at themselves. In the blue shirt. How about that? Yeah. A water bottle. You threw a water bottle, but it didn't break, right? Okay, so your water did not break. That's good. Okay. What'd you throw last? What? A chair and some dolls. Oh my goodness. Like a big chair or like a doll chair? Like a big chair? Yeah, I remember one time my dad got really mad and he like picked up a chair and he was about to throw it through a glass door and my mom was like, Joe, put that down. And I was like, wow, mom is a bass. Your mom's got such a deep voice. But we know we all react differently. You know some people, this whole clown thing, there are some people that when they get mad, what do? You better run, right? They think about the pumped up kicks, right? You got some people that when they get angry, they decide to get violent. Everybody handles anger in different ways. Some people get angry, you know what they do? They get quiet. And it's just all inside of them. And then somebody comes up, hey, you okay? Of course I'm okay! Right? And it's like, where did they? Some people yell. I had a situation when I was, what grade was this? It was 8th grade. When I was in 8th grade, there was a kid named Mike Woodward. I still, to this day, remember his name. Mike Woodward. And Mike was my bully at school. Okay, this was the kid that all through elementary school had made fun of me and picked on me and all sorts of stuff just because I was smarter, richer, and better looking than him. No, he would pick on me. And I remember I got the news at the end of 8th grade, Mike Woodward was moving to Arizona. Now, I lived in Pennsylvania. Mike Woodward is moving 3/4 away across the United States. So how did I react? Yeah! I don't ever have to see Mike Woodward again. I was so excited. And that summer, my dad had sold his business, and he was like, you know what? I'm taking the summer off. And we traveled all over the United States. And one day, we went to the Grand Canyon. You are not going to believe who was there. We walked up to the Grand Canyon. I mean, think about it. Think about the whole United States, and my bully and I end up in the same place right there at the Grand Canyon, right? And so I walk up, and my parents don't know what's going on, but they know the Woodwards. They're like, oh, hello, how you guys doing? And I see him, and he's got that look on his face. You know what I'm talking about? That, yeah. And you know what I did? I ran up and I just like, welcome to Sparta, right? And I just kicked him off the Grand Canyon. It's a Grand Canyon. Did I do that? No. Because it would be wrong in my anger to sin like that. Now, did I want to see him? No. Did I like seeing him? No. I did not want that experience. In my anger, I could have sinned. But if I had done that in my anger, I would have been wrong. And that's not right. I would have been wrong. And I don't know if you're familiar with the term wrong, but it means not right. Sorry, I just said one of those things that's like super obvious. It's just, hi. How you doing?
What's up?
Look up a school photo from the 80s.
Oh, wow.
See, here's the thing. God wasn't upset that I was mad, but he was upset at my attitude in my anger. Because, yes, I had a reason to be angry, but I didn't have an excuse to hate. I had a reason to be angry, but in my anger, I wasn't allowed to sin. I wasn't allowed to kick him off into the Grand Canyon. And the truth is, some of you guys, you're frustrated and you're angry with stuff at school, but it doesn't give you an excuse to cuss. It doesn't give you an excuse to be violent. It doesn't give you an excuse to break things. You see, in your anger, we're to sin not. So somehow we've got to learn how to have what's called righteous anger. See, there's unrighteous anger and there's righteous anger. Unrighteous anger is, oh yeah, I don't like the way that I'm being treated, so let's go shoot a cop. Or the reverse. I've got power, I've got a gun, let me mistreat you. That's unrighteous anger as well. See, unrighteous anger says, you rejected me, I'm going to hurt you. See, God's saying, anger isn't the problem. It's how you're angry that's the issue. He says, I want to call you to righteous anger. So right anger, not unrighteous anger, which is wrong anger. You see, God has given you anger in the same way that he's given you laughter. God has given you anger in the same way that he has given you joy. God has given you anger in the same way that he's given you sadness. Because they're all part of God's personality. God's okay with you being angry, but we got to figure out, why are we really angry? What are we angry about? Okay, because here's the deal. Anger is like super mega powerful. So if you're taking notes, number 2, anger is powerful. Anger is super, super powerful. Anger is so powerful that it can cause nations to launch weapons. Anger is so powerful, it can cause somebody to show up to school with a gun. Anger is so powerful, it can cause someone to beat up their neighbor. Anger is so powerful, it can cause someone else to run another person off the road. Anybody ever got cut off on the highway? Or you have somebody tailgating you, and you're like, dude, are you a hemorrhoid? What is going on? You know? This is ridiculous. Anger is so powerful that when unrighteous anger comes in, guess what it likes to bring with it? Stupidity. Right? Anger brings with it its friend stupidity. Because when people are angry, what do? Stupid things. We had a guy in our school, his name was Jim Unger. And Jim was playing soccer. And he was on the soccer team. He was a great player. He's out on the soccer field. He is messing up. He's doing terrible. The coach blows the whistle. You know, hey, Jim, come here. Okay, and Jim comes off the field, and he goes to the bench, and he just kicks the bench. The problem is the bench was cemented into the ground. So when he did this, what he did was break his foot and was gone the whole season. Because he was angry, and anger said, hey, stupid, come on. See, people that are angry make stupid decisions. People that are angry, you say, I'll show them. And stupidity is like, yo, let's do it. This'll be fun. We'll smack them around. We'll cuss them. We'll write nasty things on their Snapchat. It'll be fun. You know, it's like, what are you? And people are like, what are you thinking? You know, what's going on? Proverbs 14:29 says, slowness to anger makes for deep understanding. A quick-tempered person stockpiles stupidity. You know what a stockpile is, right? Okay, that just means like, hey, I'm gonna have some extra stupidity for later. That's what it says. When we get angry over things that God's like, chill, just don't worry about it. It's like we're stockpiling stupidity for later. Anger does another thing. Anger creates division. You guys ever have like? It's a clown.
Let's go.
You can't even see the clown eyes. Okay, anger creates division. Have you guys ever had like a good friend, and they're like a couple, a guy and a girl, and they're friends, and then they break up, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, we've got to divide our friends. It's like, okay, well, you can still be friends with the girl, but if you're going to be friends with the girl, then you can't be friends with the guy. Or you can be friends with a guy, but if you're friends with the guy, you can't be friends with the girl. You know what I'm talking about? I remember when I broke up with my 17th girlfriend in college, and it's 14. But I remember when we broke up, and it was like all of a sudden, all these people were like, okay, we can't be your friend anymore. And I'm like, why? Well, because we're her friend now. See, that's what happens. There's anger between the two of us, and it causes division. I have seen youth groups where they took sides, and it's like, okay, we like her, and we don't like him, and so now, and then that person leaves the church. Why? Because they don't feel any unity. See, that's what anger does. Anger has a way of dividing between people. You get angry at a friend, you're like, I'm just not going to talk to them. But really what righteous anger does, righteous anger is supposed to do this. Yes, we're angry, we need to talk. Unrighteous anger says, we're angry, I don't want to talk. See, God always calls us back into relationship with Him and with each other. And so if you want to have some good anger, you go talk to your friend. You don't avoid them. See, part of our problem in the United States right now is that when we have a debate, what happens? Everybody just talks over each other, and everybody interrupts each other. And no, there's nobody innocent, not Republican nor Democrat on this. We call each other names, and we make fun of people, and oh my goodness, have you ever read the comments on YouTube? If you want to lose hope in humanity, read the YouTube comments, you know? Read the comments on a Yahoo article. It's awful. Read somebody's Twitter feed. Oh my goodness. So many angry people. And instead of us rationally talking about things in our anger, we don't talk, or we just make fun of people. See, unrighteous anger breaks up community. And that is exactly what Satan would want for your church, is to break you guys up and to make it all about your egos and all about you, because that's what unrighteousness does. But we want to be in a right place in our anger. Here's the other thing. The truth is, anger is really addictive. Anger is like the potato chip of emotions. You know? Have you ever been sad and you wanted to laugh and you couldn't laugh? And your friends are like, let me tickle you. And you're like, okay. And they tickle you and you're like, I'm not laughing, but I just peed a little bit. I mean, I've been in situations where I'm like really sad and I want to laugh and I can't laugh. But anger is one of those things that if I get a little bit of anger, guess what I want? A little bit more. Right? Because we go, do you see the way she looked at you? Yeah, that wasn't right. Oh, what do you mean it wasn't right? That was just rude. Yeah, you're right. That was rude. Anger just has this way. It just like propagates and it just goes and it grows and it grows and it grows. Anger is an addictive substance. Anger is an addictive substance. And so yes, you start out yelling and you use your like little fake cuss words. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I won't do the fake cuss word. You guys know the fake cuss words, right? The fake cuss words are the ones that you do in front of your parents where they won't hit you, right? They're like, hey, we don't say bunt cake. I don't even know what bunt cake is. I don't even know what that is for a replacement. So, okay, this is what psychologists used to do. They say, hey, are you angry? Go in a room and scream, right? Ah! The problem is they found out that didn't actually release the anger. It increased the anger. And so the people that used to go to a room and yell and punch a pillow are now yelling at their wives and punching their kids. Because that's what anger does. It's addictive. It's addictive. Once you get a taste of releasing the emotion of anger, what do you want to do? Man, you want to give them some more. Come on, we've all seen Inside Out, right? You know. Right? That's what happens. If I get angry, I want to let it go. And Satan's always there going, all right, yeah, here we go. Let's go. Come on. Yeah, you know. Satan's there like, I'm just here for the comments. Okay. Here's what we have to realize. That anger is so powerful that it can transform a nation. Anger is so powerful, it can transform a nation. There are a lot of people that are very angry at the police. There are people that are very angry at Muslims. There are people that are very angry at college students, that are very angry at ethnicities, right? And it's transforming our nation. It's dividing us. It's making us cruel to each other. Why? Because anger is just that powerful. So here's the crazy thing. There are two sides to anger. There's negative, but I'm going to tell you that there is actually a positive side to anger. Remember he said this in Ephesians 26, verse 26. He says, in your anger, do not sin. In your anger, do not sin. Now, I don't know about you, but this is kind of crazy because you could never hear somebody in the Bible going, and in your murder, do not sin. And when you steal, do not sin. And as you commit adultery, do not sin. You see, because adultery and stealing and murder are sins. But anger is not a sin. Anger is not sin. He says, in your anger, don't sin. Here's another way to put it. When you're angry, make sure you're angry about the right things. I mean, some people's days can be ruined by cold French fries. And God's going, really? That's what you're going to be angry about today? That's what's going to ruin your day? I've got students, I'm sorry, let's do this, let's be honest. I've got students that it will ruin their day when they get a 90 on an assignment instead of a 95. And I'm like, guys, grades are important, but there are other things you should be angry about. There are other things that should upset your day. Getting a 90 isn't one of them. All right? It's okay. Just breathe. Just breathe. He says, in your anger, do not sin. Listen, eating food is good, right? Okay. Eating 20,000 calories a day, not good. Food isn't the problem. Anger isn't the problem. You get that? You ready? Don't be mad. Is it good to exercise?
Yes.
Yes, exercise is good. But if your whole day is focused on how do I look, how many reps did I do? If your whole day is focused around your body and your exercise, perhaps exercise is a sin. Maybe Jesus would say, in your exercise, do not sin. In your grades, do not sin. In your eating, do not sin. He goes, in your anger. So it's not God saying, don't be angry. He's saying, be angry about the right thing. The ideal, the perfection isn't to have no anger. The ideal is to have the right anger. So there's a guy, his name is John Christensen, and he says this: he that is angry without a cause sins. But he who is not angry when there is a cause sins. Unreasonable patience is the hotbed of many vices. Here's what I found. I get angry when the things that I love are affected. So guess what I mostly get angry about? The things that get in my way. About the slow cars. About the person in the 20 or less registered that has 21 items. Right? The person that doesn't know how to swipe their credit card, right? Or insert for chip. Okay? The person that has been standing in line for 10 minutes and then goes, oh, what am I going to have? Right? I tend to get angry about the things that I love the most. And unfortunately, the things I get angriest about the most is the thing that I love the most, me. Okay, I want you to sink in. Because there was one time, my son, he plays trumpet. What a catch. What a catch. He plays trumpet. So he plays trumpet, and he's walking into the band hall and for a concert, and he stops. You know that moment where you stop and you're like, what am I doing? What am I thinking? Right? He does that, and there was a girl right behind him with her friends, and we could hear her. She goes, don't just stand there, stupid. And she walked around him. My wife heard it. Okay, so what's my wife do? Yeah, my wife makes a beeline to her and is like, you don't talk to my son that way. Okay, why? Because my wife's love of my son was greater than her love for this little snot-nosed girl. Okay? There's another time my wife interviewed for a position, and she didn't get the position, but she came to my office. She's like, that guy was so rude to me, and he was just so angry and just belittled me, right? And so we were at an event like a month later, and she goes, oh, he's here. And I was like, where? You tell me where he is. And she goes, I'm not telling you who he is, because I knew who he was, but I didn't know who he was. Does that make sense? I didn't know what he looked like. And I'm like, no. Just tell me who he is. I just want to talk to him. And she's like, you do not want to talk to him. And I'm like, I've got plenty of things that I want to say to this man. You see what was happening? I didn't care if he was angry and had belittled anyone else. I cared that he had done it to someone I loved. If the band could come forward, we're gonna close here. Here's the question: Can we start getting angry about what Satan has done to your school? Can we start getting angry about pornography? Can we start getting angry about abortion? Can we start getting angry about injustice in our society? And the truth is, unfortunately, so many people don't get angry until it affects them. And I'm telling you, God has some righteous anger. In fact, here's how I know that God was so angry about sin. That when his creation sinned, when Adam and Eve sinned, God said, that ticks me off so much that you serpent, you're dead. You nipped the heel of my creation. But one day, he'll crush your head. You see, when Jesus came and died on the cross, it was the most aggressive thing that God could do, because it finally sealed the enemy's fate. God is so angry at Satan, so angry at that sin, that he said, I'm not going to stand by and just let it happen. I am going to aggressively seek out my creation and bring them home.